speaker for the evening is Marius. Unlike many Joburgers or Gautengers who are moving to Cape Town, Marius has recently moved from Cape Town to Joburg to head up Luno's office, which has just recently opened here in Johannesburg. He started in the finance department and has recently moved into operations and is heading up the country team, if I understand it. And he's responsible for working closely, particularly with some of the other branches of Luno in Africa and especially in Nigeria. So I'll hand over to Marius. Thank you.
Cool, thanks Donna. Yeah, I definitely don't have a cool name as Fluffy or the social media presence like Fluffy or Vinny, but I think I'm just passionate about crypto. And it's actually a great opportunity tonight to actually chat a bit about crypto. So if you most blockchain events or fintech events lately, you only get to chat about enterprise stuff basically. So it's nice to get in on some crypto action actually, because that's really what gets us at Luno up in the mornings, cryptocurrency, the first real application of blockchain. And we feel that now with cryptocurrency, we have a way for money to actually catch up with other revolutions or evolutions, I should say, like information systems and communications. So before I start, actually, I just want to reference back to Luno quickly. We've had a very exciting month or two. As Tanya pointed out, we launched an office in Johannesburg. That's primarily to help us with our expansion across Africa, putting a team together to launch into multiple African countries and to really take crypto to the African market. And we're also building an engineering or dev team in Joburg. So any one of you would like to submit to series, really, our engineering manager will get you tonight, and that's the last I'll say about Luno, but please be looking for devs. Okay, so really the message that I would like just to get across tonight is that the way we think about and the way we use money is changing. It's happening faster than we think, and that people should take note. So over the last couple of thousands of years, we've seen the way people use and the way people think about money is constantly evolved. It's well documented, you can go and read up on it, but a common thread throughout history is that is a common thread of change. So money has evolved continuously, and the good thing now is that we've reached a point actually now where we know change is happening, and it's happening right in front of our eyes. So the thing is that money, as opposed to the systems that we use to store or to transfer money, actually is one of the only large-scale systems used by humanity that hasn't changed or that hasn't used technology. If you look at communications, and we keep on referencing back to communications information systems, how we use technology to reach economies of scale in the information world, from landline phones to internet-enabled smartphones to jumping on a Google Hangout call with colleagues thousands of miles away. Where's my presentation? Okay. Cool. That's the Luno sword. So you would have seen the pamphlets at the entrance. So basically, what we're saying through this is that we're saying that the current financial system was built for the non-digital age. We're saying that change is coming, and we're saying that people should take out their rand notes, or not rand notes actually. We actually don't have a rand note in that origami dinosaur. But take out banknotes, fill your dinosaur origamis, share on social media, and getting on the action. Please do not destroy your rand note, your ZAR notes. It's not allowed, it's illegal. So please don't go and tear up and post it on social media, because you can land in trouble. Okay, so I discussed about change. Change is happening in front of our eyes. The fact that money has evolved, and it's constantly evolved. If you look back decades or even centuries back. And now we need to ask ourselves, why is this happening now? Why are we seeing this change happening right in front of our eyes? And the first is that there's a collective mindset change. So the fact that we've been using money the way we currently are doesn't mean that we need to use money in the same way in the future going forward. We now, in decentralized digital currencies, we're now able to reimagine the financial future, and people are actually starting to think that way, really, believe it or not. Second one is changing consumer needs. So if you look back over the past couple of decades, consumer demographics and consumer demands have changed considerably. Consumers demand cheaper, consumers demand faster, consumers demand customized services and products catered to their needs. And that requires huge economies of scale to reach that point. And lastly, you need a technology for change that. And we feel now with cryptocurrency and with blockchain, we now have a technology that will allow us to scale, or that will allow us to reach the economies of scale that our consumers demand from us. So we now have a trifecta in this that can act as the catalyst for us to change from the current financial system to the future financial system. But importantly is that we won't reach that future state by just optimizing current processes. By, for example, making cars more fuel efficient. That's just optimizing the current process. What we need is a radical left idea, for example, fully automated cars. So cars that will anticipate the behavior of other self-driving cars or other people. Self-driving cars that will, for example, consider the age of the driver in the other vehicle and react accordingly. AI doctors, basically. You remove the emotion completely out of it. That's a radical new idea that's out there. And then with cryptocurrency, we feel that, yes, obviously, it will make the way we use it and the way we see money more efficient. It will open us up to a new economy of goods and services, better referred to as decentralized applications for that. But important is that we need a paradigm shift. Fintech alone won't be enough. Fintech, as we can know, fintech is great, but fintech at this stage, you're seeing companies or ideas where you have a better user experience, you have a better user interface, or the way you access your money or the way you transfer your money, that's being improved. It's a better user experience. But it's not changing money at its core. It's still the same money, still the same limitations, still the central authority that you currently have with money. So we need a new left idea, and we have cryptocurrency that. So, okay, now we know that we've now seen that we've got three sort of catalysts for change. We've got change in mindset, we've got changing consumer demands, and we've had a new technology. But what now? What's going to happen? We know that change is coming, hopefully, but what is next? So we're actually already in the process of building this parallel ecosystem, this parallel economy, or financial system. It's happening faster than we think it's happening. We have the data and the market data to back it up. But we're seeing this process transitioning from the current financial system to a hybrid sort of intermediary economy before we actually reach the stage where a true paradigm shift has been made. So in this hybrid transition economy, yes, that's where a company like Luno plays a role. We try and build trust in this new system. We try and improve the access. Trust, believe it or not, even after all the phishing and scam emails. And we also try and make it easier for people to actually access cryptocurrency. So make it easier for first-timers to actually cross from fiat currency to cryptocurrency. So in this hybrid economy, we'll see use cases coming to the fore. On the payments front, we'll see cryptocurrency remittances, for example. And we've seen that already. We've seen companies doing test payments of that. We've seen companies actually implementing that. We'll see existing players like businesses or, for example, the Globies of the world using cryptocurrency for payments or enabling people to use payments. So that's that's in a hybrid model because you still require fiat currency actually to get to the income. So the good thing about the hybrid economy is that you will need cryptocurrency to take part in the hybrid economy. You will need cryptocurrency, and we'll also see fewer intermediaries in the hybrid economy. So to us, that's a good step, and that's a step in the right direction towards reaching this new paradigm where we have a global, decentralized economy. Okay, so how will we get there? So I've touched on that briefly now. We see it panning out over 3 phases, basically. The first phase we see as reach the old and the new, and that's basically just giving people access, first time is access to cryptocurrency, getting them literally the toes into crypto, whether it's Monero, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Ethereum. And we see this playing out from now over the next 2, 3, 4 years. Phase 2, growing the ecosystem. So this is the point we will actually see people willingly using cryptocurrency for payments, for the store of wealth. People actually starting to believe cryptocurrency other than just trying it out for the first time, playing around. And then phase 3, as I said, leveraging this new paradigm. So that's a state where we have everyone moved over to this new economy, and we're seeing real use cases emerging, and that we see playing out over the next 5 to 10 years. So it's happening. It's really happening. We have the data. So if you look at all those, and I don't even have to go through all of those stats, transactions. Bitcoin price, slightly outdated graph, I must admit, but we're still seeing price growth if we look back 5, 6, 7 years back. Increasing blockchain wallets, trading volumes. It's been on the sort of stable side since the bull run in December and Jan. And Bitcoin volatility. So I think most of you can agree that the Bitcoin volatility actually has subsided. And since Jan and February, we've seen pretty much stable cryptocurrency industry, or actually Bitcoin and Ethereum. So who uses Bitcoin? So I think it's important to distinguish between need and greed. Needing people actually needing the cryptocurrency to perform a certain action. And then you have the greed part, people who actually trade, people who actually buy cryptocurrency for the potential economic upside in it. So, but it's important to actually acknowledge the greed component of these two use cases. Greed is good, actually, whether you believe it or not. Greedy people provide liquidity to this ecosystem. And that enables other use cases to work. And it also accelerates network effects. So each time someone or a greedy person buys cryptocurrency, that person actually buys into this crypto industry. And that then makes it possible for us to continue with research and development and scaling and optimizing the network itself. Okay, more greed. And then, just some more sort of around macro factors, backing up why we're saying that we're seeing an increase in adoption and why we're saying that change is happening faster than we actually think it is happening. We're seeing more useful and more real use cases coming to the fore. We're seeing more awareness and acceptance. People actually know what Bitcoin is. If you're going to ask the average person on the street, they actually will have an idea, they would have heard of it. Maybe they have 10 rands in Luno or altcoin trader or whatever. But we're seeing increased awareness. Better infrastructure. It's becoming easier for people to download wallets and to get access to cryptocurrency because of better infrastructure. More favorable media and regulatory views. We're seeing regulators acting in a more pragmatic way. And we're seeing the media being less biased also. So that really helps the industry move forward. Better data on user performance. So we're actually starting to see the data on the use cases that has emerged, and a fragile global economy. So we're seeing people during uncertain times maybe moving towards safe haven assets. I'm not sure if Bitcoin is a safe haven asset, probably not, but we're seeing people diversifying ever so slightly into crypto. Launch of Bitcoin ETFs and institutional participation. That's probably good from a conservative perspective. People linking JP Morgans or massive corporations to cryptocurrency, and that gives the industry maybe a bit more trust. Some could argue that that's the case or not. And then network scaling issues being addressed. I'm not a technical guy. I'm not sure what's happening right now behind the scenes, actually. But I know that we've had some improvements on the scaling side. So what will the impact be of this new financial system that I think hopefully all of us in this room are sort of contributing towards? And that is, we're working towards a system where money is cheaper, where transactions are safer, faster, it's easier to do cross-border transactions, where we remove the intermediaries, and at the end of the day, actually accumulate all the value to the end user. Because we're seeing transactions that become transparent, but get private, controllable and programmable, and we've all read or heard of the benefits that it holds. But to us, the most important part is to create an equal and equal system for all. And we believe that from a cost and from a speed perspective, and from removing the intermediaries, the end users will actually, at the end of the day, accrue all the value. All the value will accrue to the end users. Same impact, it's just more of the same, lowering the cost of living, increasing value retention. We actually think that as we start moving into the sort of the wider, sort of more established ecosystem, we'll actually see the biggest ever shift of wealth that has ever been experienced in the industry, because each and every person buying into Bitcoin will own part of that network, and at the end of the day, provide more financial freedom to all the participants in this network. And I think, that's maybe just to summarize. We know that change is coming, and there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. There's a lot of venture capital flowing into the industry. Companies are expanding. No one would probably have thought that exchanges and companies like Luno would just continue expanding, building the team in a flat market like this. But there's absolutely no pause or no stop in the momentum that's currently in the industry. So that's just the cover of The Economist in 1988. Get ready for world currency. I think we're pretty much 5 to 10 years away. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Marius. Well, we get the microphones ready for some questions. Luno's been an incredible success story for South Africa, and something that I think we can all be proud of. What are your views on decentralized exchanges?
I think from our perspective, I'll refer to decentralized exchanges. I think for us now, in the stage that we're currently in with cryptocurrency, we're trying to introduce people into this new financial system, and I think that the easiest way for people to start operating in this ecosystem is if they do it through a centralized exchange portion at this stage. It's just easier, it's complex, people do not know how to store their tokens offline, for example. So I think centralized exchanges will still have a big role to play, definitely for the next 5 years even, as we introduce and as we get more people to participate in this ecosystem. Yeah.
Thanks. Questions from the audience? Yes. Just go to microphone. Oh, okay. Thanks, Gary.
Hi. In terms of the work you guys are doing and wanting to expand into other African countries, how are you planning on overcoming or attacking the hurdles with regards to how taxation is interpreted, how your different regulators want to sort of interpret the use of cryptocurrency? Is there any headway being made positively in this regards?
In South Africa, yes. I think there's lots of consultation currently happening behind the scenes. The Reserve Bank, SARS, the Revenue Service, the Financial Conduct Authority, a lot of different government institutions currently playing around with potential regulations and trying to figure out the best way to use it. In the rest of Africa, we're currently busy working with tax consultants on sort of get an idea of the tax environment across Africa, and it's very challenging. Most central banks up to now have only said that listen, the normal rules that apply to financial securities or the normal rules that apply to trading or to sort of assets that they hold for sort of capital appreciation. The same rules apply at this stage. So very much grey area. It's up for self-interpretation. And we have a big task at hand to launch into these countries. It's not as simple as incorporating an entity and walking in there and opening a bank account. It's really almost a 6-month project opening a bank account. You have to assemble a team, a cross-functional team of legal compliance, ops, people who can get the work done, but it's really challenging. So for us, we've been operating in Africa now for 5-6 years. We're only in South Africa and Nigeria. And that's partially because of the African environment. It's really tricky to do business in. And now we're in the cryptocurrency industry, so it makes it more tricky and more interesting. But we are seeing some positive signs from regulators, and they're not sort of discarding it. We're seeing the Nigerian central bank saying people should act with caution, but they're also acknowledging that it's not going away. It's here to stay, and people should also embrace it, but responsibly. So we're seeing positive signs. It's just, I guess, dealing with regulators and tax authorities at the right level. So dealing with them at senior level instead of waltzing in and just sort of starting like throwing the toys out of the cart. So there's a right and the wrong way of doing it. The right way, unfortunately, takes time.
Thanks very much. My question to you is that obviously you guys have done a wonderful job, and you're going to be complimented on having the foresight and attracting the right financiers behind you to achieve what you've done. But to me, and my dealings with your company, there is a critical problem that I'm experiencing. And that problem is that you're playing in this new paradigm shift, but you're playing by the old rules. So let me give you an example. My co-worker, illegal Zimbabwean, wants to send money back to Zimbabwe. The ideal thing would be to be able to buy Bitcoin, send it there, do what he has to do. But because you're playing by the old rules, and you've got all these regulations, and you're following the financial services industry rules, etc., he can't come and buy from you. He's got to buy over the counter, or he's got to stick to using US dollars and paying commissions to everyone along the way. So the whole purpose of Bitcoin and the whole aim is to empower the disenfranchised. And I don't think you guys are contributing to that. Can you perhaps tell me what you are doing behind the scenes to change the situation so that the disenfranchised can become enfranchised?
Yeah, good question. Unfortunately, because of the stage that we're currently in the stage where we're having to educate consumers, we're having to educate regulators, banks, reserve banks. So we're unfortunately currently in this stage that if we want to operate and if we want to provide a secure platform to our customers, then we have to unfortunately play by the rules that's currently in place for the normal financial system. So we can go and we can say, listen, let's onboard anyone, even if we know that they take part in a Ponzi scheme, or let's onboard anyone, even if we know that they're an illegal immigrant, they don't have a proper proof of address, but we know regulations are coming. We know it's coming, whether it's in 6 months' time. The Reserve Bank, actually, they are working towards getting their position paper out by the end of this year, opening up for public comment, but we know it's coming. So are we going to put ourselves in a position now where we say, okay, let's open the gates, let's truly make this a decentralized, global, open thing, or are we going to take it phase by phase, work with the regulators, and play by their rules and take it from there? So that's sort of that's currently, we are constantly challenging the status quo when we engage with the regulators in terms of cross-border payments, for example. But unfortunately, we have to know, or we need to know the customers using our platform, and that's, at the end of the day, the reason for that is to make our platform more secure. I know it's not the answer that you wanted to hear, but that's what we're dealing with currently.
Hi there, thanks for sharing your information with us tonight. Quick 2 questions. The issue on cryptocurrency ATMs. We've seen a few in South Africa presently. Is that something Luno's going to get into? And then my second question is the Visa and MasterCard debit cards, something like Zappa had, and then it was taken away. Is that also something that Luno is investigating?
So first question regarding the ATMs. Unfortunately, that's not a focus area for us at this point. Our focus at this point is purely on our consumer wallet, making our wallet secure, making our wallet easy to use, and that's also partially why we're not currently adding more tokens and more coins to our platform, because we're really trying to perfect our current offering, and I know there's lots of areas like customer service perhaps where there's a lot of frustration coming in, but our focus at this point is on consumer wallet, and we are building an enterprise team, and they will then go out and they will create things like Bitcoin ATMs and sort of deep integrations with banks down the line for us. But at this point, at least for the next 6 to 9 months, our focus is going to be on Bitcoin ATMs. The second question around sort of card payments, so you're asking whether we're actually considering accepting card payments. Yeah, so we have a product roadmap, and that's basically on top of the list from our payments perspective to offer our South African customers more alternatives. So we're looking at card options. And that's something that we're working on, and we're hoping to release that in the coming month or two. So that's something exciting that's on the horizon, and adding to give our customers the opportunity to do instant deposits. And we're also looking at instant withdrawal. So in a couple of months' time, you request your withdrawal from Luno, that money will be sent to the bank at the same time using the API call, and you will get the funds in your account if your bank is in the same bank. So we're really trying to make the deposit and withdrawal side of Luno as instant as possible. Okay. That's not currently sort of in our plans, but we've actually had discussions around that 1 or 2 years ago, but then we decided that it's not a priority for us at this stage. But in terms of getting helping our customers to do instant deposits and instant withdrawals from a fiat perspective, that's something that we're working on at this stage.
Hi. Why haven't you added other altcoins? And can traders expect crypto pairs in the future, in the near future?
Yeah, so another good question. I did say earlier that the greedy part of the sort of use case spectrum is important, so at least we should add more altcoins. But we also need to do it in a responsible way. And I mentioned earlier also that our focus currently is on our consumer wallet. So by adding more altcoins, we're increasing the complexity of our operations from customer support through to the storage on a technical level, but everything becomes more complex. For a first time, now to just, okay, I've heard of Bitcoin, I've heard of this thing, and the person will go to Luno and have the app, and now they're confronted with 5 different altcoins. So what the hell now? Like, which one do I go for? So we acknowledge that there's a lot of altcoins, or there's altcoins out there with sufficient market adoption, sufficient security, but at this stage we're really trying to make our app as easy and safe as possible, and we think by adding multiple altcoins or more trading pairs in the sort of foreseeable future, we won't achieve that. So again, I'm talking like 3 to 9 or 3 to 12 months here. I'm not saying no, we won't. Definitely, sort of, we actually underwent a big project last year around about this time where we built multi-currency infrastructure. So we can actually add 10 to 20 altcoins if we want to, in the next month. But it won't be the responsible thing to do at this stage, because we won't be able to provide customers with that level of service that they really want. So again, it's more business priority for us than actually not giving customers access to it.
We've got time for one more question. Oh my gosh. Okay, Gareth has decided, I'm sorry, that the person at the back of the room is getting the microphone.
Just 2 quick questions. On 2 occasions, I tried to log into my account, Luno. They wanted me to photograph my ID. Why? The second one, which currency is a cryptocurrency is highly likely to become that world currency, and who's likely to issue?
Okay, your first question, I think that's just a normal process. So you can open a Luno wallet by just entering your identity number. We can verify that, and if it's verified, then you get, I think, 15,000 rand. Don't get it, but you have, you've got leeway, so you can deposit up to 15,000 rand, withdraw up to 15,000 rand. And as soon as you hit that limit, by that time, hopefully you are willingly trading, or you are you're seen as being part of this ecosystem. Then we will ask you to actually just take a photo of your ID document and upload that onto our platform, instead of emailing a PDF copy or doing it in any other unsecure way. So that's just a normal KYC process. Unfortunately, as I just explained, that's just part of the FIC KYC requirements at this stage. And then the second question is around which cryptocurrency. That's also an interesting question. I don't know whether Bitcoin will be the number one in 1 or 2 years' time. We have a fair suspicion that Bitcoin will be the top one, just purely because of market adoption and traction and the level of trust and knowledge, and also the sort of the team, technical development team behind Bitcoin working behind the scenes. But something I just can tell you is that it must be a decentralized cryptocurrency. Whether that's Bitcoin or whether that's Zarcoin, I don't know, but it has to be decentralized. It has to be truly decentralized for it to succeed. So,
thanks, Marius. Thank you. Very quick wrap up from my side, because I'm adamant to time step this into the blockchain and we finished at 8:30. Just a big thank you to the VEXA organisers. It's been an incredible evening. I think the mix of speakers, I don't think one speaker's made the same points. So we've had a nice technical balance, high-level discussion with Vinny, Marius' views on where we're going in the future of money. So really a big thank you to the organisers for a great lineup and a great variety of speakers tonight. Thanks all for being here. There are I think there's some drinks and snacks, if I'm not mistaken. And please hang around and chat to the speakers and network with each other. Great to have you all here. Thanks.